You can imagine with His Majesty the King there's lots of scaremongering, particularly in the, shall we say, left-leaning media over here in the United Kingdom. Basically about one of Charles's greatest fears. Is he still now up for the job? 9 months in, of course, taking over the reins of the monarchy and becoming King Charles III. They're like nothing more than basically to highlight the fact that perhaps it's time for a change, or indeed would he be stepping down, etc. All the usual paraphernalia. But this particular story, as ever, has fed into that particular narrative. As ever, let me explain. Morning, Neil Sean here, nice to see you. Thank you so much as ever for your time today. This is really just a quick update to let you know how things work, because I know a lot of people out there would pick up on a story like that and think, oh, is this the case? Is this true? You know? Now, as you all know, and I'm sure all royal watchers know, normally there's a weekly audience meeting between the current sitting British Prime Minister, and currently that is the Right Honourable Rishi Sunak. Now, what normally happens is, wherever the monarch is, say at Buckingham Palace, Windsor, whatever, they have a weekly meeting, normally on a Wednesday afternoon, you know, for a basic run through of what's happened, particularly after PMQs. That is Prime Minister's Question Time, held, of course, in the Palace of Westminster. Now, what's interesting there is that normally there would be a bit of debate, a bit of, you know, what's happening, what do you think could happen, and also in the case, say, of our late and wonderful monarch, Her Majesty the Queen, her sage advice after so many prime ministers was often very much welcomed. Now, normally these things are not discussed in public. You know, it's a private individual meeting between the monarch and, as I say, the current sitting British Prime Minister. The only one to make a gaffe about revealing a certain aspect of that was none other than the former British Prime Minister, Bumbling Boris, as you can imagine. I don't think he meant to do it in an unkind way, though. But what's interesting now is, for the foreseeable future at least, His Majesty the King will be undertaking the weekly meetings via telephone, or indeed a digital platform like Skype or Zoom. Why? Well, as we now know, he's based in Sandringham, recuperating from the very first round of whatever treatment he's being given for, of course, what he's now receiving. And what's interesting here, as I say, is the negatives are, oh, this is terrible, he's out of action. He's not out of action, there's a reason for that. They don't want any infection. So the only people around him are normally tested for all sorts of things, as one can imagine. Now, if you have a Prime Minister that's just been in, quite literally, the House of Commons, with all of those people, who knows what infections he could bring each week to the meeting. Hence the reason they're going to be, for the foreseeable future, via phone. So for anybody scaremongering out there, that is the true reason behind this. Nothing more, nothing less. His Majesty the King is still working, and more importantly, as ever, we wish him all the best. But isn't it terrible, even at this time of difficulty for him? Seemingly nobody can just let him have a moment's peace. You know, you do kind of wonder what sort of world we live in and how these people carry on living. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.